Hey everyone, thanks as always for tuning in. I apologize, the videos have been slow coming, life is just busy. However, fortunately or unfortunately, the pace of my acquisitions has not slowed down. Now we're going to look at currently what is the newest model from WingMan EDC, a company that I think does some really interesting offerings. And we're going to take a look at the model called the JETT. Now this is a collaboration with custom knife maker Dustin Turpin based on a model he has called the Strife. Now this is not the first production collaboration of this specific model. A couple years ago, maybe 3, maybe 4, who knows now, time is no longer seems to make sense. But Browse Blades did one, I think they also called it the Strife, but WingMan has called this one the JETT. A couple of years ago, Dustin Turpin was one of the most prolific custom knife makers. People were falling over themselves to get his knives. He did get behind on orders. People did get upset. He did take a break for a while. I don't know if he's caught up on orders now. Just kind of word to the wise that if I show a production model, that doesn't necessarily mean that everything is good to go with the custom maker. The nice thing about a production model in lieu of a custom is if it's on the shelf and it's available, you can buy it. There's really no difficulty there, and that's the case with this one here. So without further ado, let's jump into the WingMan EDC JETT. Now this is a frame lock flipper. It does not use the kickstop mechanism like a lot of the WingMan models do, and this is their largest model to date. As far as I can recall. So this one's coming in at a 3.5-inch blade, which is exciting because they've only done, I think maybe 3.3, 3.25-inch blade models up to this point. I've been looking forward to them getting to slightly larger models, and here we have one of them. So let's jump into, actually let me show you what it ships with, then we can do some size comparisons. So there are actually 3 different versions of this, of the JETT. You have one that's just kind of full titanium, and then I think the blade is probably some sort of glass or bead blast. There may be a few different versions of blade finishes associated with just the full titanium model. That one starts at like $280. This one is the Zerk inlays. This one comes in at $380. And then if you want to go real crazy, they have one with Zerkatai inlays or Damascus type inlays, and then a Damasteel blade, and that one's coming in at like $800. So, you know, anywhere from $280 to $800. Price is subject to change. So here's this one. This does have a hand rub satin and M390 blade steel, zirconium inlays. This one is number 12. All right, this bad boy ships with kind of the usual stuff that WingMan EDC knives come with, which is a branded pouch. You do have the tool here for the pivot, and then on the back you've got the other tool for the body screws. And then this certificate of authenticity is, of course, their dog tag. So Turpin, and there's all the good stuff there. So yeah, that is what this one ships with. Let's get that out of the way quick. On the floor it goes. Size comparisons. First of which, we have the Kershaw Dividend, and it is slightly larger than the Dividend, of course. We have the Para 2, which of course is larger than the JETT here, but probably has less cutting edge. So there are 2 size comparisons. Let's move those out of the way. And then I do have 2 other models. Oh, FYI, this one is on loan. I do not own this one. So to the people who've already messaged me to buy it, not mine. So I apologize. We do have the Tom Mayo TNT, and this one I absolutely love. And then we have the GTC collaboration, the ASA, something like that. And this one does have the kickstop mechanism, so as you can see, it is larger than both of those. Alright, as I said, blade length 3.5, handle length about 4.125, give or take. Overall about 7.625. Now the blade stock is 160 thousandths, so it is not thin blade stock by any means. Where's the spider go? There it is, like next to the pair too. As you can see, thicker, of course. Now my digital calipers died, so I can't give you the thickness behind the edge. My apologies, the batteries are dead in my digital calipers. I looked for other batteries, but apparently I'm out. So, I don't know. We call that a technology problem, maybe. Let's see here. So, blade style, some sort of modified Tonto, essentially. Now, the cool thing is, so the OEM or the manufacturer for this and for all Wingmans thus far has been JETT knives. When they do this type of grind, a lot of it is actually done by hand, so this is more than likely a hand ground blade on this, because all of their other similar builds have been hand ground up to this point. So at least in portion, probably the majority of it. Obviously the hand rub satin is done by hand, as the name implies, and it is a fantastic hand rub satin. They do a really good job not to blur out the edges here on the transition from the flats to the primary bevel. So that's something that I see a lot of people not do quite so correctly, is they do so much hand rubbing that they actually start to blur out the transition lines, and then it looks a little messy. But they've always done a good job at JETT to not screw that up or make that mistake. It's not a screw up, it's just, maybe it's personal preference more than anything. Now the weight on this puppy we have to talk about. This thing's coming in at 5.15 ounces on my scale. The full tie version, I don't have it, but some of the specs I've seen on different websites, it was closer to 5 ounces. And the one with the Zerka tie and the Damascene steel was also coming in at like 5 to 5.1. So they're all relatively in that 5 to 5.15 ounce weight. So it is not, it's not a light knife by any means, especially considering the size. Zirconium is obviously quite heavy, but they went to great lengths to try to reduce the weight. Can you guys see all those pockets that are milled in there? They really went out of their way to try to reduce as much weight as mechanically or physically possible from this knife. So certainly appreciate the effort. It does have a stainless steel lock insert, you guys can see in there. We have some nice chamfering here on the cutout to make it easy to disengage. Let's talk about flipping action. So it does something that I really like. We have a flipper tab at a 45-degree angle with some jimping, so flipping is very nice, very smooth, ceramic bearing, ceramic detent. I don't think you're going to misfire on this thing once. It just makes for a very satisfying, very strong flipping action. Another thing that I really like is they did a detent ramp, so as you disengage and you go to close it, you don't get caught up. You don't get caught up on the tang of the blade, because you guys can see that slight little, right there, that slight little kind of mill out. That is for the detent ball, so it doesn't get caught on the ramp, which again, really nice thing when you go to close it and it doesn't get stuck. Absolutely love that. So that certainly adds to the enjoyable flipping experience. The holes here, looks like it's gotten a bead blast in there. It has a slightly different hue or tone to the color, which is very cool. And of course, shaving sharp. Got some jimping up top here, which is effective without being sharp. And then the flipper tab acts as a forward guard. You can rest your thumb on the top of the blade. So yeah, so a lot of good things with regard to the flipping action. It is a little bit heavier, but they did a really good job. We should probably do a close-up here on the Zerk, which has been given a, almost looks like a hand rub as well. Some nice milling on the titanium. Certainly adds a little bit of grip, gives it some character, as you guys can see. Backspacer, really like it. It has almost kind of like a jewelry type of effect. It's got polished either stainless steel liners or perhaps it's titanium, I'm not sure. But it gives it a really nice look. Got a little lanyard pin here at the back. And the backspacer is Zerk as well, a little bit of a gear pattern, so really well done. Now, pocket clip, 3D milled. It is fairly thin, so my jeans and shorts that have the reinforced pocket edges, it does not really like to cooperate with it. You know, we take a look at the TNT, the Mayo TNT clamps. You can see the space there for the edge of your pocket. Really, really good space here. Slightly compromised, so hopefully you guys can see the difference there. Again, if your pants or jeans don't have reinforced pockets, you probably won't notice, you probably won't care. If you're like me and all of your pants and jeans have reinforced pocket edges, well then you're just kind of sad. So that is one potential difficulty with this knife. The other, and I saw someone made a comment on this on one of the dealer sites, but the edges right here around the lock bar cutout were left a little bit sharp. So some additional chamfering here would have certainly been nice. In my hand, when I've got this thing in a full grip, I don't feel it. It doesn't dig into my hand at all, but someone else complained on one of the dealer websites with their review that that this was sharp and it did dig into their hand. Doesn't in mine, but again, that's one of those things where, you know, hand size or finger width or, you know, maybe how fat your fingers are, I don't know. It certainly differs. So, yeah, let's take a look at that flip. Oof, really good stuff. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in particular we need to cover on this thing. Again, I'm not getting any hot spots in the hand. It's comfortable. I can get a full grip on this thing with my XL size glove, and really cool to see them do a model with a blade in the 3.5 inch range. So yeah, I like seeing a slightly larger models. I mean, don't get me wrong, I certainly love some of these smaller models too, but choice given, I'll certainly take a 3.5 inch blade. And if you guys follow WingMan EDC on Instagram, you will see that they did tease a larger version of the Mayo TNT here, which I am absolutely excited for. I hope they basically just do a larger version of this exact knife. That would be absolutely amazing. But again, I'm sure they've got a lot more collaborations in the works too. I'm sure they've got more coming with the kickstop mechanism, which is incredibly fun, really addicting. So if you guys haven't had the chance to experience, you know, a custom Lee Williams kickstop, which are horrendously expensive at this point, this is absolutely the next best thing. Any of their models that employ the kickstop mechanism. So anyways, let's leave it there. I think that was it. Comments, questions, let me know. Hope I didn't miss anything for you guys. Again, more videos to come as time will allow. I certainly post more over on Instagram, and I'm quite active there if you are wanting more daily content. So thanks so much as always, guys. Really appreciate you. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you guys soon. Take care.